Hey, it's Mary Ellen. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, thanks for stopping by. Today's video is going to be about lists. I mentioned this in a previous video and you guys seemed interested in hearing more about lists that you can make in your planner or journal. So I thought I would give you some ideas today. So sometimes I sit down with my planner and my mind goes totally blank. I want to write, but I don't know where to start. One of the easiest ways to get going, though, is with lists. Lists don't have to be boring to-do lists. I mean, those are useful too, but they can also be really reflective and creative. So today I'm going to be showing you 15 different lists that you can write in your planner or journal. I'll show you a few examples of each one, and I've broken them down into categories. So category 1, accomplishment and growth. The first list is 10 things I accomplished this week. I use this one a lot. So I love this list because it shifts the focus away from what you didn't do and onto what you actually achieved. Our brains are so quick to dismiss small wins, but when you write them down, you realize your week wasn't really wasted, at least not always. Even things that feel ordinary, like grocery shopping or replying to emails, they count too, because sometimes we just can't get going. Over time, these lists become proof of your growth, and I like to look back at them because it makes me feel accomplished. The second list in this category is skills I want to improve. This list is great if you're in a self-improvement phase or just trying to be better at something. You don't need to pressure yourself to master everything, but just writing down the skills you'd like to grow helps you set intentions. They can be practical, like getting better at cooking, or, creative, like learning how to paint or something like that, getting better at something. Even writing down one or two things just reminds you of those goals and helps you to get going on them. The third list in this section is called Obstacles I Overcame. So it could be for the week or it could be just in general. This list is amazing because it reminds you of how resilient you are. So it can be things from the week, like pushing through a tough workout or getting some paperwork done you were putting off. Or it can be like a bigger life thing, like you can think about your life and everything you overcame. But seeing them written down kind of reframes the way you view challenges because suddenly you're not struggling. So it's kind of like proof that you can do hard things, right? Because when you read back on this, you can see, hey, I did this, so maybe next week I can do this. The second category is gratitude and positivity. And I am huge on this. I don't know if you know this about me. If you've been watching my channel for quite a while, I write gratitude lists all the time. And sometimes I make separate lists for different categories in my life, just about what I'm grateful for. The first list in this section is 5 reasons I love blank. I'm writing a list here of 5 reasons I love my job. You can swap out job for whatever fits your life. 5 reasons I love my school, 5 reasons I love being a mom, 5 reasons I love this time in my life. Whatever fits, it just focuses in on a specific type of gratitude and not just a general gratitude list. Sometimes we get so focused on the negatives that we forget the good things about the current season we're in, and writing down a few reasons helps you to see the good parts. The next list is things that made me smile this week. I love this one because it captures little joys. It could be a funny text or a good cup of coffee or, I don't know, someone being nice to you when you're out in public. All of it counts. When you look back at it, it boosts your mood because you can just see that tiny little things can shift your perspective. So it's basically looking for the tiny little happy things in life. And I actually use this one quite a bit. The last list in this section is people who made my day better. This doesn't have to be your closest friends or family. Sometimes it might be strangers or casual acquaintances, but writing down specific things that people did during the week to make your day better, it just kind of makes you warm and fuzzy and makes you focus on the good in people rather than the bad stuff. The next category is reflection and self-awareness. I use a ton of these kinds of lists in my journal. The first one is what I'm proud of about myself. So if you're not used to praising yourself or thinking about your good qualities, this list might make you a little bit uncomfortable at first, but it's really powerful because it helps you to be more compassionate with yourself and to see yourself in a different light. It doesn't need to be big accomplishments, even little things like sticking with your routine or showing kindness to someone. Everything counts. It just helps you to see the good in yourself, and honestly, that's always such a positive thing. The next list is things I want to let go of. I did a whole video on this back years ago, and it was one of my most popular videos for a reason, I think. Making a list of things you want to let go of is like giving yourself permission to just breathe, giving yourself permission to let go of something that is not serving you. This doesn't have to be, really heavy things. It can be, but it could be something as small as like comparing myself to strangers online, or stressing over my messy kitchen, things like that. But it could also be deeper, like letting go of perfectionism or something. This list is just about acknowledging these things and saying to yourself, I don't want to carry this anymore. And when you see it on paper, it feels more intentional. So I think this list could be really helpful. This list can also be kind of trivial. Like I think on my list back in the day, I had something like, I'm not going to match my socks anymore or fold my sweatshirts or something. So it can basically be anything. The last list in this section is called My Ideal Morning or Evening Routine. I love this because it lets you dream about what your days could look like if you design them intentionally. Instead of focusing on what you're not doing now, you get to imagine your ideal version of a morning or evening. And I love doing this. And yes, I don't always follow through. I try, but there's just something to be said for kind of dreaming of the perfect situation. You can either go all out and make your list like some picture perfect Pinterest routine, or if you want to be more realistic, maybe your ideal morning routine is just like 10 minutes of quiet before everybody else wakes up, or maybe it's like a full workout and a good breakfast or whatever. I mean, same with evenings. Maybe it's as simple as no phone before bed, or a new skincare routine. My advice to you would be to keep these routine lists kind of simple, because if I've learned anything from all the years of trying to set routines, less is more. That is what I've learned. I don't always follow it, but less is more. The next category is memory keeping, which is one of my very favorite things to do in my planner or my journal. Because my planner is not just for the future, my planner is also for my past. In other words, I like looking back at everything that's happened in my life over the years. So the first is favorite moments from this month. This is such a fun way to document your life without writing like really long journal entries. Just jot down a few highlights, like a sentence for each one. It could be like a trip you took, or it could be, a conversation you had, or just something little or something big. But when you flip back through your journal later, you'll instantly remember like those things that you might forget otherwise. This next one is quotes that I really love. This list belongs under memory keeping because the quotes that we connect with usually reflect what's happening in our lives at the time. So a quote that stands out to you this month might not hit quite the same way next year. The quote could come from an author or a TV show or a friend even, but writing it down just gives you a record of the words that stuck with you that month. The next is songs that were on repeat this week. So music is so tied to memory, right? Like when you hear a song, you instantly are transported back into the past of when you were like obsessed with that song, or just a point in time when you were listening to it. And when you look back on this list later, you'll instantly remember like what was going on at the time when you were listening to these particular songs. The last section is called future oriented. And as planners, we really are, always thinking about the future, right? So these are important. The first one is things I'm looking forward to. I use this one quite a bit. It gives you a little bit of excitement, even if life feels boring or if life feels heavy. It doesn't have to be big things, just sometimes the small events like getting a new candle for the fall season, or carving pumpkins, or getting coffee with a friend, things like that. It just gives you something to look forward to. And those things are what kind of gets you through some of the time. The next list in this section is called Habits I Want to Build. This sort of goes hand in hand with routines, but honestly, habits are not always part of your morning or evening routine, right? Writing them down makes them feel more intentional. It's not about being perfect, but you know how you think to yourself, oh, I want to do this, I want to start doing this, and then it sort of leaves your mind, at least for me. It can go in one ear. I'm like, yeah, I want to do that. And then months later, I'll go, why didn't I do that? And it's because I'm not writing these things down. So if I have them written down, then maybe once per week or once per month, I could go back and look at that list and choose one that I want to work on. That way it's all written down. I won't forget about them. The last list is called Things I Want to Learn, and this list can be literally anything. It could be something big like learning how to speak Spanish, or something tiny like learning how to make the perfect omelet or something like that. Writing it down makes it more real and helps you see what's actually exciting you instead of just letting it stay as a passing thought, but also it kind of forces you to think about what might be interesting or exciting to you. It'll keep you engaged rather than just sitting down and watching TV. You might think, oh yeah, that thing I wanted to learn, let's do that instead. So those are 15 list ideas that you can use in your planner or journal. And honestly, I could go on and on and on. There's so many more lists that I can think of. So you just have to use your imagination and, write about what's important to you. The beauty of lists is that they can be quick and simple, or they can be super reflective if you want to go deeper. They're also fun to look back on later because they are such a specific moment in your life. Like you might write one list a certain way this week, and then you'll write it the same week next year, and it might be a totally different list. So I just find them really interesting. And also it's a way to fill up your planner if you just don't know what to write. So I hope this was helpful for you guys. Let me know in the comments if you regularly make any of these lists in your planner or journal, and maybe you could share other ideas for lists in the comments for those who are stuck and can't think of anything to write. All right, that's all I have for you today. I hope you guys have a great day and a wonderful week, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.